Got this lease option deal I want to share with you too. Greetings, class. It is Sunday. I am Chris Haskins with Dan Borrero, and what we do is invest in real estate. And we would love to hear from you regarding the different deals that you're doing. Dan Borrero has been investing in real estate since 1989. I have been investing in real estate since 2004. So together, you've got about 50 years of combined real estate investing experience, and we do real estate two completely different ways. And every Sunday, we like to share with you what we're doing in business, how we're doing it, how it's affecting our families, lifestyle, and different strategies to help you get out there and buy your first house or your next house. So, ladies and gentlemen, Dan Barrero, how you doing, my brother?
Oh, bro, it's always a pleasure sharing the screen with you as always, man. Love doing this every Sunday. Want to tell the audience what we're doing special that we know that most people ain't doing. What they There you go. People could call in.
So, what we do is we allow you to call in. We want to hear from you. Forget us. Dan, you'd have seen enough houses for how many generations of families? I can only imagine. I've seen enough. I'm just like, how many?
There's times, man, I'm driving in Florida, like where we specialize in, or Brooklyn or Staten Island. I'll be like, damn, I remember when I looked at that property. This just happened to me today. I remember when I looked at that property. What a mistake I made not buying that for 160, 30 years ago or
Isn't this
20.
something? Isn't this something, Dan? You look back and you say, that house was 50,000. I
Yeah.
remember that house was 30,000.
Or like, damn, I sold that house for only 350 back then. That shit's worth a million right now.
Dan, you know, it's weird. I used to hear these stories and I used to always say, nah, I don't believe that. I
Yeah.
don't believe that. Please tell us who you are, where you are in the chat so I can bring you up here, please. But Dan, you know what? I want to tell everybody. I got something I want to talk to you about, Dan. I got a lease option deal I'm going to share.
Yeah, and
But
I want to talk something to you about
yeah.
too. So let's go over your lease option.
So y'all, I got what I did. I was browsing through the internet this week because I'm getting ready to list one of my lease options, y'all. And I want people to understand while some of us are making a bunch of repairs, other people are going to the bank and cashing the check. We got a first caller here. I guess it's
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail.
greetings. You're on the line with Chris and Dan. Please state your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Nick Horn. I'm calling from Chicago.
Nick,
are you?
happy New Year, my brother.
Happy New Year to you, Nick. Nick still
How
there?
you doing? My name is Nick Horn. I'm calling from Chicago, Illinois.
Nick, happy New Year, buddy. How you do? Yeah, good. Thanks for coming on. Happy New Year, Nick from
The same to you guys also.
Chicago. On the line.
How
How
can
can
we
we
help
serve
you,
you?
Nick?
What you got going on, buddy?
Yeah, so I mean, mostly my question is, so with all the things that are going on, I've been following you. Can you hear me?
Got you loud and clear.
Yeah, mostly my question is, with all the things that I follow you for a while now, and I have really good income, but where do you know where to start at in real estate, right? You have wholesale, you have lease options, you have sub two. I mean, just to get the ball rolling,
Good.
like where do you start?
That's a great question, Nick. Thank you for first being honest. Not everybody trying to be Big Willie and all this stuff. And not saying that you aren't, right? But I'm sure you do. You say you do well. But some people need to start from number one. That's why when tonight I made the thumbnail, Dan, I don't think it's all about money. I don't think it's about business. I don't think it's about real estate. I don't think it's about deals. It's about family and lifestyle. Nick, that's why I wanted to hear lifestyle, because your lifestyle is extremely important to where you want to start. So we got to ask you some questions. Like I could say, boom, let's start here. Then next thing I know, you got 4 kids. That ain't gonna work, right?
Right.
So we need to know a little bit more about you. Tell us about you, buddy. Your dad, husband, you got kids, you're married, 20 years. What about you?
Man, no, man, young man, out of Chicago, single.
Okay.
Right now, I have a multi-family. I have a 3-unit in the city, and I have one single family in the south suburbs. no family, no kids, no nothing. To be honest, with you, I've been looking at real estate all the time, but I mean, like I said, man, so much stuff. Like you have people that are saying PPC, PPL, bandit signs, and it's
Nick,
like, man, like
let me ask you a question, Nick. What kind of work do you do?
well, I'm in clinical research, so I do drug development.
Okay. You're in critical research, which is what development you said?
Drug development. So I work with drugs that are being developed for certain diseases.
So can I assume that you're analytical?
Yes.
Okay. So I agree with Chris. There's two answers to this question. Okay. One, it all depends on your lifestyle, which means everybody has different risk tolerance, right? And your risk tolerance is determined by what other responsibilities you have. So, for instance, I have 4 kids. As my family grew, my risk tolerance became less because I couldn't, I didn't want to come home and tell, my kids, we couldn't eat or you have to eat some peanut butter and jelly sandwiches because dad made a mistake, right? So, but in your case, you sound like you're young. I could tell by the way you were speaking, you're analytical. And you have a higher risk. You should have a higher risk tolerance than somebody like myself or Chris, right? So, having said that, how old are you, may I ask?
I'm 28.
28 years old. Oh my God, you're a baby.
Good
So
Lord.
you have a lot of time to make up for mistakes, but I suspect you ain't gonna make much mistakes because of how analytical you are. Your biggest problem, in my opinion, is 2 things. One, I want to congratulate you at 28 years old having a multifamily in the house.
That's what I was thinking. Having any real estate, forget multifamily.
My hat's off to you. That's number one. Number 2, I love the focus that you currently have. But what I would say to you is if you don't know where to start, you already know where to start. Your problem sounds to me like you don't know how to scale or you're looking to scale. Is that your question?
Correct. Right.
You already started. Shoot, you got more than most people got.
I would tell you need to seek knowledge. And when you seek that knowledge, when you develop that knowledge, when you learn that knowledge, you're going to have a really good idea which direction you want to go in. So, Chris and I, we do this business totally different and we're both successful. But Chris does it in a way that fits his personality, his risk tolerance, and his lifestyle. I do it in a way that fits my personality, my risk tolerance, my lifestyle, right? So Chris does a lot of subject too. When Chris and I are talking about rental properties, I see sometimes he's looking at me like, you crazy doing it that way. And I look at him like he's crazy doing it that way. Am I wrong, Chris?
Yeah.
Right. So what I would first tell you to do is educate yourself.
And we both full time. We
Yeah.
both full time all day.
I'm going to tell you, educate yourself first, because through education is how you're going to figure out which direction you want to go in this business, whether you want to go into the wholesaling subject to, or a traditional landlord, right? Or fix and flips, right? So I host a free mentorship class every single Wednesday night. I highly recommend you join us. It's free to attend. It's free to join. It's free to learn. It's every
Just get on the email list. The email list you could join the email list below. It's right below. It's in the thing.
Go to danielburrowjr.com. But
drive them here, Dan. Drive them to the waiting list, so they're gonna give me an email address with that anyway.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get the email list. So but I would say you first you're confused. You don't know where to start the scale part of it. So I would say first you need to seek the knowledge, absorb the knowledge, and then determine. That way you'll know which direction you want to go in. And by the way, the more educated you are, as far as this business is concerned, the less the fear factor will stop you from making decisions.
Resistance. Nick, can I give you something?
Right. Yes, sir.
So I'm at the stage of my life, right? I am not necessarily looking. I want more income, but it sounds like to me, income is not a problem for you. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So, Nick, you're a young man. These lessons we learn as we get older, right? Like, if I make another 10 grand a year, it's not going to change my life one iota, right? It's not going to, I'm like, whatever. So I'm thinking for you, you make another 10 grand, right? So You buy a rental property, it puts 10 grand in your pocket. So we have to look at real estate as these two columns, right? You got income producing or wealth building. It sounds like to me, you're not hurting in the income producing part, correct?
Correct.
So it might be, I'm not saying that we need way more information, might be a good time to just focus on the wealth building part, because some people check the check, trying to figure out how they're going to pay their bills, all this stuff, right? And they got to worry about income. Income. So for you, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, better or worse. It's just like which one you're going to focus on. So Dan, and another property of him is not going to change his lifestyle any at all. So Dan does a lot of wealth building stuff, so he's focusing on managing wealth. So for you, you got to just make a decision. Neither one of us can answer that, but you say, look, man, is another 10 grand gonna really change? So let's focus on the wealth part. You with me?
Yeah, definitely.
And it can be challenging because, in our culture, the grind culture is so much income, money, income. No one talks about the managing of the wealth part.
Nobody.
There's definitely more pride. That's important.
It's 50-50. It's 50-50. Patrick Bet-David told me the income is your offense. The management of the money is your defense. So you can't do nothing without both. So for you, brother, I would say, look at myself. I can't tell you either one, but it sounds like we need to figure out how we're going to manage wealth. And that's going to be getting more buying wholes. Because if you're doing wholesaling and flipping and stuff, dude, all you're doing, man, if you got his money right, if you're doing flips, all you're doing is making more hassle for yourself for another 30 grand a year.
You can, but unless he does this with it. So, which is what I do and Chris has done. Where
don't forget he's working full time too, Dad. Don't forget that.
I understand that, but if he could do the fix and flips until he's figuring out what he wants to do, in which direction, or wholesaling,
don't spend it.
The best part is you take that money, as long as, and it doesn't sound to me like you're not financially responsible. It sounds to me like you have a relationship with money already.
Mm-hmm.
If you could take that money and put it into an account, and then use that money to go buy another multifamily property as your down payment. Now that profit you made on that fix or flip, or you made on those wholesaling deals, is going to give you continuous income from here to kingdom come. Then that's another avenue, which is the avenue that I highly recommend for everybody to do.
Yeah. But then he got to remember that while he's doing it. He has to remember that while he's doing it, though. He can't, he has to know, look, this is for this. Dan, that still falls in the wealth building category.
Absolutely. Again, it's all about delayed gratification.
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, that's kind of what I was thinking. Cause mostly, what I kind of grew up on was, like, I'd rather use house money, right? So let's say I do a flip or something like that, and I made a great profit on it. I rather, since I have my job, that I'm good, right? I'm very good, but I rather use that money to just scale up some more rather than coming out my own pocket. And then, what I'm saying? Like you said, your risk. I just rather put the risk on house money than my own money.
There you go, bro. I think you're smart. Dan, you muted. Dan, you muted. Are you talking to us? Dan, you muted. Is he? You on the phone? Anyway, Dan, are you on the phone? Are you on the phone with somebody? Anyway, okay. So yes, house money. I agree. That's a great idea. Use your money to live on. Do your flips, but Nick, when you're doing them, you're gonna have to make sure that you stay compartmentalized with that money, right? This money, and for me too, I'm like, look, this money just goes back to the next deal. Boom. That's house money, right? This money you made extra.
Nick is in a perfect position. He's got no wife, no kids, no other responsibilities. You live at home, Nick?
You said, I'm sorry, what?
Do you live at home?
Yeah, I live in my multifamily.
Oh man,
okay. So you're house hacking in your multifamily.
Chilling, dog.
Yeah, I'm house hacking.
Okay, Nick, man, I got to give it to you, brother.
Chilling.
You are doing everything to perfection.
Now 28.
You just need to now figure out how to scale, and if you want to like I said, go to my free mentorship class. I host every single Wednesday night. Chris Haskins got a ton of great videos on his YouTube channel.
Once a year. You do one flip, Nick, one flip a year, dude. Let's say you made 30 grand. In 3 years, you got 100 grand. Man, save every penny of that stuff, dude. I would save it all.
And and again, delay gratification. Don't take that 30 grand and go buy a new vehicle or go on vacation.
He ain't gonna do that. We ain't gonna do it. We're gonna come get it. We're gonna come
get it. I'm good on that.
No, man. So, don't even tell your family you got it, man. No friends, nobody, because then everybody's gonna ask you for a loan. Get your next property.
All right, Nick. Good talking to you, brother.
Yeah. And how do I enroll in the Wednesday night call? Is it on the? You guys have the link on here.
You gotta put it up. It's not up. You got to put it up. Okay, Chris, it's not up.
Dan, we're driving everybody to the link in the video description. Just join the email list, the waiting list, and you'll be on both of our email lists. Okay.
No, it's not.
All right. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
All right, guys.
The video description's not up.
What'd you say?
It's not up. The link.
Dan, I put it up there. You got to refresh your screen. It's there. Y'all don't see the waiting list thing, y'all?
You guys see a waiting list thing?
So we have Dan and I are doing our training, but it's right in the video description right below here. I'm looking right at it. Oh, if you don't see it, then you gotta refresh your screen. If you don't see it, just refresh your screen, y'all. I'm bugging. 1 second here. It's right there. If you don't see it, just refresh it. Just refresh your screen. It's there. So, Dan, it's there, brother.
Okay. People saying it's there. How many people we have on?
If you can't see it, you have to refresh your. Just go to refresh. Go back and come back in. It's right there.
I just did that, but let's ask the audience. Do you guys see the link? It's there. Okay, cool. Yeah. Again, but if you want it, it's danielburrowjr.com, or you can go to the link that's there.
danielburrowjr.com. We want to put
guys,
it. We want
to bring. Give us another question. We love this. There you go. We love.
Look at this, Dan. Check this out. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
What do we have on here, Chris?
45, 50. I got 10 on Instagram. So I wanted to show you, Dan. Oh man, it's a house I was looking at. We'll get to it.
To accept, press 1.
Hey, caller, you're on the line with Chris and Dan. Please state your name and where you're calling from.
David from New Mexico.
New Mexico in the house. Thank you, David, for calling in.
What up, David?
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm doing good, guys. I had a couple of questions about some property that I own. I actually inherited it in a kind of a weird way. I bought my mom's house from her, and then she gave me the farm. And it's 140 acres. 22 of it is commercial, and it's eligible for a data center. And the other 100 is eligible for PV or electric or, a bunch of different infrastructure. And then I also have 6 trailer houses. I shut down most of them because there was a lot of drug use in them, and they're in kind of a dilapidated state. I would prefer not to rent them out until I had the money to bring them up to a level that is respectable. But I have some questions about where you think I might want to go if I'm facing some like division or subdivision difficulty. I can't subdivide before 5 years, and I can only do 5 acres every 5 years. With the exception of I can give my children some things. I have 4 children, and I was just wondering where I might be able to start with some of this information, like where I might start investing or start looking for opportunities. I was looking at a DSCR for maybe the remaining houses that I shut down. I own the farm outright. It's worth about $1 million, and I'm looking at taking 80% equity or 70 if I can, if I can't get 80, and
do you mind
into action some.
David, there's no way we're going to be able to answer all those questions right now, but we can definitely attack 2 of them.
Yeah, no worries.
One that I can help with, Dan. You go ahead first. Dan, the man on that.
There's 2 things. I would do 2 things simultaneously. I would go get a DSCR loan, and or if you own the property outright, I'd get a home equity line, because with the home equity line, it's a lot cheaper to get. But that's assuming you're really financially responsible. I've seen a lot of people go make a lot of big mistakes with home equity lines where they go spend money on personal items that don't make money.
Yep.
Right.
Then what I would do is renovate those mobile homes and get those up and going first, right? But while I'm doing that,
Okay.
I'm going to start reaching out to data center developers because that is a huge business and that's a triple net lease, and they will incur the entire cost of the construction of those data centers, and that is a
Okay.
life. That is a life. That's about creating generational wealth because you could even go so far as to just leasing the land with 25 with a 100-year lease with 25 with every 5-year increases. There's so many different
Okay.
directions to go with that, and that's the type of business where you create generational wealth for your 4 kids from here to kingdom come.
Yeah, that's the idea, right?
And they're going to incur those millions of dollars developing that data center. And by the way, that is a huge business right now. Huge. There's not enough
Yeah, that's what I was
in the
thinking.
United States.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I would work.
I really appreciate that advice.
What do you advise, Chris?
Go ahead.
So you got, I'm not qualified to speak on that data center information, but I'm the mobile homes you got.
Yeah.
How many you got?
6.
Here's the thing, man. If I were to go back at my younger self, and this is what I was getting ready to show Dan, I might as well do it with you right here. Dave, what's your name? Dave, right?
Okay.
So Dave,
David, yeah.
I want you to see this, right? See all these nice houses that are being for sale?
Yeah.
This is the one I want to show us here. That's a piece of junk, right? You see the one that's got a bed that's ripped out.
Right.
Next to all these nice ones here. $975 a month, 3-bedroom, 1 bath. David, I'm gonna show you the rest of these
Right.
pictures and inside, okay? This
Okay.
is this lesson that I'm teaching on my channel. This person here is selling a property, seller financing. He's doing nothing to the property, and he's going to get a down payment, and he's going to get a monthly payment on this piece of crap. You with me?
Yeah,
So
right.
you got to decide how you want to run your business. And what I just have seen over my years, people doing all these renovations to these properties, dude, only for them to be run down again, and then they losing money. So I don't do it anymore. Dan does it, but yeah, I want you to see
Mhm.
people are out here making money on ugly stuff, just like your mobile homes, by financing
Right.
other people, brother.
But he may
Okay.
not do that. David, let me ask you, are those mobile homes individually deeded or are they just under one mobile?
They are not. They're on one 120-acre section, and I can't break them up
Can't do that.
before 5 years each. So it'll take me 20 years to break them up.
Can't
Okay,
do
how
that.
many per mobile home? What does it sit on per 1 acre? How is it broken up?
They sit on about a half an acre, but the county won't let me divide them below 5 acres.
Yeah, so I would
gotta
fix them up. The only thing though, David, you would have to literally pick your tenants the right way. So Chris and
Right.
we're doing a mastermind that we're launching in March. It's the first one that we're going to be doing together. And essentially, there's going to be a 5-week course, and it's going to go really deep into the selection process of that tenant, where to find that tenant, the interview process, the application process, the vetting process, from beginning to end. And we constantly are saying, you could do everything right. You could buy the property right. You could renovate the property right. But if you don't manage the tenants, those tenants will manage you into being broke, right? So,
yeah, that was the problem with my mom. She let a bunch of terrible people in it, and I took over it and kicked everybody out.
Good for you.
Because it's worth it to me and my peace of mind.
So
right. Well, now it's about picking the right tenants. You
got to fix them up first.
Now you know which tenants you don't want.
Yeah.
Now you know which tenants you don't
for sure.
want. The question is, where do you find the tenants that you do want? And how do you deliver that product to get the tenants that you do want, right? So, and that's what our mastermind is. I'm so glad this is exactly what we're trying to teach people at this mastermind. Right. You could do everything right, but if the tenant could ruin you if you don't pick the right tenant.
Yeah, really, for sure. That's why I was trying to go triple net with the data centers. Maybe if the houses wouldn't pay off, but they're just such a nest egg right there, waiting to give me $10,000 a month.
That's true.
To pay off the mortgage of the DSCR or
Right
whatever.
now, that's the lowest hanging fruit for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay.
Go
Good
for
luck,
it.
Dave.
Okay. Fantastic.
Keep
Yeah.
your mind on that.
I tried to set my sights on the data center thinking that, that generational wealth thing, triple net, but I have no idea how to contact anybody. And that the trailers have been sitting on the back burner, but I'll bring them forward.
We could talk about that. Reach out to me if you like. It's really not as difficult. Just Google it. Just keep Googling it.
Okay.
Use different words. You're going to find out who needs these debt. There's companies that build this out. There's companies that build them out for the people who need them, for Google and for everybody else. If you are already zoned for a data center, that's literally 50% of the work done already for you.
Right. Because you don't have to go to the board, and it's like not even conditional. It is non-conditional. You could just start building without even having to ask the board.
Precisely. So all you need now is the permitting and the designs.
Excellent.
I got to
tell you. Thank you guys so much for what's that?
That is not something that happens overnight. So that's something that you could start working on now, but reach for the lowest hanging fruit, which is getting those mobile homes up and rented.
Do you have any resources where I might be able to find somebody that'll entertain a DSCR?
I don't like recommending mortgage guys to you, Chris.
Can't do it.
Gotcha.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Good luck on that, man.
But I would.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I personally would just look in your local area for mortgage brokers first. Start there.
Okay. Yeah, my idea was to try like the smaller credit unions, see if they might play.
They probably would, believe it or not.
Okay, excellent. Thank you guys so much for your help. I really appreciate the direction. I'm gonna start jumping in on your Wednesdays.
I appreciate that.
Thanks, Dave. All right, peace.
Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good night.
Good stuff, man. Not a lot of people get that opportunity to be able to do that type of stuff. So Dan, he couldn't do what I suggested because his properties are on one parcel, correct?
Correct. And then he would have to get them subdivided, and he can't do that for 5 years. Each one.
So I just wondered, Dan, I'm getting ready to list one of my lease options, right? But I want people to understand, while this guy is going to the bank, getting a check, this is on Facebook, y'all. And Dan, I want you to chime in too. All these people here have put their properties, they got them all nice and pretty and all this stuff. While this guy here, y'all, I want y'all to see this.
And you know what? His pictures are exactly how much of a disaster this is.
I think it's done on purpose.
Yeah. Exactly.
You're on the line, caller. You're on the line with Chris and Dan. State your name and where you calling from.
Yo, it's Aya. I'm calling from Ohio.
Ohio in the house.
Name
How are
from
you?
That's AYA.
AYA. That's a beautiful name. Aya.
Thank you. It means all things are beautiful. All things that are beautiful.
I love it.
It rolls off my tongue. Aya. Aya.
Yeah.
What's going on? How can we serve you? What you got?
Okay. I just jumped on live, so I'm not sure if you all have a focus on what exactly you're speaking about, but I had a funding question.
Okay. Well, you got the man with all the money right here, Dan Borrero. You good.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
Just give him your
I've been following you for a long time, but I've never jumped on live, and I just happened to jump on Instagram after being off for like 1,000 years, and I happened to see this that you were live. I'm like, yeah, let me go. Because I've got some questions growing.
All right, cool. So funding, what type of funding you looking for?
Okay, so a quick backstory. My husband and I, we have a construction company. He is amazing. The investors that are coming in from out of state contract him to do their work when they buy up all this land and do the rehabs and new constructions. It's him that's doing the work. And now I want us to do it for ourselves. We have a home that we renovated and it appraised no, we didn't get it appraised yet because I don't know which direction to go. We own it free and clear. It's newly renovated. We own the home right next door to it, and we're gonna fix that one up. We have another home that is used as an Airbnb, and that brings in like 70 a year. We're doing good, but I don't know how to get funding because we want to build a tiny home community, something that's new in Cincinnati, but funding is, where do we go? We got the business credit, the business, I'm sorry, let me turn this down because I'm hearing myself in the background. We got the business credit. I have excellent credit. Well, it's like a 750, a drop from an 808. I don't know how to get funding to start the tiny home community. There's a 2.7 acre lot that is in the land banks here right now, and I want to get that. It's going for $25K. It's off. It's a little further out, so it's not necessarily in the city, in the crowd, and we're not on top of each other. It's a wooded area that trees have to be cut down. But how do you go about getting the money for it? Do I go through my IUL? Do I get a hard money loan? That's where I'm stuck at. I want to make the best move on funding.
Let me ask you a question. You obviously have the business acumen, the business aptitude. You obviously have the discipline. You and your husband both. So my question to you is, you're telling me what your goal is.
Yay.
Oh, my question is, do you have a plan? Have you developed a business plan? Like when you go to a bank and say, hey, I want to build tiny homes and I got 2.5 acres and I want to build 25 homes on this 2.5 acres, and I'm going to have to put in these roads and I'm going to have to do civil engineering work, right? So this is my plan and this is how I'm going to do it. Do you have a business plan?
No, I don't. I have relationships that they just say, what do you need? We got you, type thing.
That's fine. Relationships are great, but they're only as good as the plan that you're going to put in front of them. You and I could be best of friends, and I have all the confidence in you that you're going to make things happen. You still got to explain it to me.
Give me the plan.
Give me the plan. Show me the perspective. How is it going to happen?
Let's start from here. Hey, let's start from right here. Let's say me and Dan are going to put up all the money for everything you want to do. What are you going to show us tomorrow? What are you showing us tomorrow?
And that's a good point because I have my little scribbles on paper, but I don't have anything concrete. So I guess that's my starting point.
We don't guess.
I would tell you, and I can't believe, Chris, you didn't bring this up yet. What? Chris has got a document online that you could purchase. All you got to do is just plug in the information. He has all this set up for you.
Raise money.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and you could do, and in your case, because of your relationships and because of your road behind you, Chris, please explain the road behind her. You do a better job at that.
The road already. All the stuff. You don't got to prove nothing to nobody. You all the research. You and your husband.
Right. So what you should be looking for is not, you should be looking for private money.
Private money. Because private money doesn't require you to have everything. Like me and Dan, let me say, people approach us all the time. We had a lady approach Dan and I to borrow some money for this deal in Maryland, right? And the lady goes, I don't answer phone calls on Sunday.
Like, oh no!
Fuck out of here. You know what? I'm not okay. I didn't even talk to her. Dan talked to her. If she's watching, no disrespect. I mean, I love all my round up family, but Dan's like, yeah, we can't talk to her today, and she don't take calls. I'm like, you know what, Dan, I'm out. Yeah. I don't want to do business with nobody. Don't take. So my point is, with private money, you don't have to have all your ducks in a row because you're dealing with regular dudes. So I mean, and we get to decide. And you know, if you're not ready to come to the guy, so yeah, you need to raise private money. That's it. It needs to be private.
Where they can get that perspective from you, man, because that I use it. It's an awesome tool.
Yeah, you gotta have a perspective. When you sit down with people, it's 30. You got to say, okay, this is page 1. This is what we're doing. Page 2 is a flip chart. If you can get it, it's on my website. I don't even know where it is, man. I don't even offer it. I mean, you could go to email us or go to the video. Send me an email. I don't even offer to. It might be on my website, but you need a prospectus so when you sit down with somebody, you can flip through it.
Okay. So when you say private money,
I can't stress to you enough. That's where you need to start.
Yeah.
Set up a perspective, because that perspective is also your plan on how you're going to achieve this. Then once you have that perspective, which is your plan, then you're going to see that it's going to be step by step by step,
Way
by step
easier.
by step by
Way
step.
easier. Way easier to borrow money. Way
Okay.
easier to borrow money. I don't want to talk about money. I want to look at something on writing, right?
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
want to say, okay, let me see what you got. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, on page 8, we thought about boom, 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 boom. You with me?
Okay. Now, but outside private money. Okay, that sounds good, but it's like, where do you find those people with those M's? Like, we have so many relationships, but I don't think these people really got no money. And if they do, like, they ain't trying to do nothing with it. That it's not. It sounds very simple, and I've been told, yeah, you use OPM, but if
That's
I
all
have,
there.
how do I leverage what I have to even just make one tiny home or two tiny homes on this lot where
Even if you
people
want to
will,
leverage what
where
you
those
have.
people who want to invest will come to me?
Okay,
Would that be better?
even if you have, even if you want to leverage your own property, when you go into the bank for that kind of money, for that type of a property, and most likely I would tell you go to your local savings bank or credit unions. They'll be more open to this idea than the commercial bank, right? You still should be going in with a perspective and a plan. Hey, banker,
Mm-hmm.
this is what I'm looking to do. This is how it's going to help in the community. This is the side of the community I intend to help with, right? You're selling the idea to that banker. I would go to the local savings and loans bank, the local savings bank. I would go to the municipal bank. Those banks are a whole lot more open to this type of a situation than if you went to Chase or Bank of America or or Citibank, for instance, right? So you still need this
Mm-hmm.
perspective. You still need this plan. Now, Chris is the man. Listen, I was the guy who wasn't for private money, right? Until Chris convinced me otherwise in 2019. He said, Dan, you got a road behind you. You got a road of experience that proves that you could overcome challenges, that you could
Just
navigate
like you.
overcoming those challenges,
Just
just
like
like
Aya.
you, right? So now there's plenty of people with IRA money that's sitting in the bank making no money. You're doing them a favor. That's what Chris taught me.
Mm-hmm.
Aya,
And you
I'm
find these people how though?
I'm
Sorry,
sent
go ahead.
I'm sensing some resistance in your voice.
It's not resistance. It's I guess I'm hearing you, but I still feel stuck. Like, I will map out the whole plan. That I love that kind of stuff, so I can do that very easily once I sit down and map that out. But I'll still be stuck at the funding part.
All right. Let's all agree that the funding is the most simple part. We agree to that, right?
Mm.
That's the easiest part. Well, let me ask Dan. Dan, do you agree with that?
I disagree, man. To me, before you get to the fund, yeah, the easy part is the funding. The hard
Okay. I
part
just
is,
want to make sure we agree
you know
on
what,
that.
you're right.
The
Yeah,
money's the easiest part.
yeah, the hard part for me is, okay, I find the land, but is the land, is it zoned so I can build these tiny homes? Because if it's zoned that I could only
Yes.
build one house for every 5 acres, I don't want it.
She know all that. Yeah, she's good with that. The money. Hey, so let's just repeat after me. The money is the money is the easiest part.
The money is the easiest part.
Listen, that
Let me
resistance,
say it
y'all.
like I
Listen to that
believe you.
resistance. Get that
Let me
resistance out of here. Get that resistance.
let me say it like I believe it though. The money is the easiest part, yo.
Do you
It's the
know that there
easiest.
is? Ah, yeah. Let me help you. There's trillions of dollars they print every fucking day in this country. Do you understand that fact?
I understand it. How
Okay.
do I access it?
Just follow me. I had to tell myself this same. They print the shit on paper every day. So for us as a
Okay.
community to say, it ain't out, where is it at? What we missing the boat. You with me? They print it every day. So why is it that we think that it's hard? Not you per se. I'm not screaming at, I'm just like, Chris, they print this every day. Why do I think that it's hard to get it when they print it out of a printer? Can we start
Because
there?
I keep hitting up on your roadblock
Let's start
on
there.
how to get it.
All right. Let's start there to say that it's easy. Let's start there. Now, second,
Okay.
I'm talking to myself. Really, I have to remind myself, Chris. They print this shit every day. Why is it a big deal?
Okay.
Right. So
Okay.
when Dan and I was talking back in 2019, when he said he didn't raise private money, we're not going to get into that story. But for you, I'm sensing we don't even need to be talking about money or deals or business. We need to be talking about drilling down in your head and getting some education and wisdom so we can change the words and the spirit. Even when I hear you, when I say repeat after me, the money is the easiest part. I can't even get you to say it. I can't even get you to say it yet. So how is it that you're going to raise $1 million if you can't even say it? You with me?
Yeah.
I can't get
Dig that.
I don't even
Okay.
know. I don't know you, but I can't even get you to say the money's the easiest part until you on. You know, I'm trying to bring you over here, and you fighting me.
Okay. Okay. Money is the easiest part.
Money is the easiest part. So
It's the
if you
easiest.
let me ask you, if you had all your plans, all the architectural plans, all the engineering plans, all of the construction build out permit, all that done, right? If that was all completed and you were buying the property at 60% below market value, do you think it would be easy or hard to get somebody to finance that deal?
Is this a say it like you believe it part, or is this a real question?
I'm just saying, this is how I look at real estate, right? You got this bucket, right? Deals,
Mhm.
you got deals 60% below market value, right? These deals in this bucket. And we're Dan and I are the sharks. We live in this bucket. We don't leave this bucket. This is where we live. If you were to drop a deal in here that's 60% below market value after repairs, how long do you think that deal would last before one of us bought it?
Okay. Okay.
You follow me? It wouldn't
Yeah.
last for 1 second. It wouldn't
Right.
last for 1 second because this is where we live. We live in below market value real estate, underperforming real estate. And it's not just me and Dan, it's all of us here. So for somebody to say, I hear it every day, the money's hard, the money, all I need is the money. Look at, Fred said it would last 0 days. He's right. It would.
Yeah, Frederick will last 0 days.
We live in this bucket. This is where we live. So for you live here too. All you got to do, you got to wrap it up in the Kit Kat, drop it in there. You got lenders in here. But the first thing for you is to say, that's the easy. I used to think just like you, Aya, the money was hard. And then I found out how much of it was out there. I'm like, holy God, there's so much of it out there. All I got to do is turn myself into the person that knows how to borrow it. And it sounds like a little
And it
work.
sounds to me you first need to start with a perspective, develop a plan, because you can't come to somebody like Chris and I. Let's
Oh,
say
here.
that Chris started in this conversation. We'll give you all the money. Show me what you're doing. And you can't show me because you got it scribbled on a bunch of little papers. That's not going to happen for us. So you need perspective. You need a plan.
All right.
Then you could come to people like us or even your banker when you walk into to the local bank and show him this perspective or this business plan. Now you said, okay, I could work with this. Let's figure this out.
All right, we got to go. Next person. Much love
I
to you.
greatly appreciate your time.
You need a consultation. Get a consultation from both of us. Go to our websites, Daniel Barrero Jr. Your consultation. We're going to really help you out with that.
Chris,
Will do. Thank you so much.
All right, much love. Bye.
Something, while we're waiting for the next call, I wanted to bring up, guys, with all this, this catastrophe in California, and let's not,
yeah.
I'm not going to worry about pointing fingers, right? First and foremost, it's pissing me off that these politicians are pointing fingers at each other.
Can you believe that mess?
Yeah.
They gonna say something about during where people dying and getting burnt up,
and they're all talking smack about how So you got the president-elect talking smack about the governor. You got the governor talking smack about the mayor. You got everybody's pointing fingers at each other. So
it's embarrassing.
Yeah, and while we're waiting for the next call, but I'm not going to get into that part. But I want everybody here to know, based on my experience, I'm in New York City. We on the opposite side of California. If anybody in this country thinks that the price of material is not going to double over the next 3 months, you're insane.
That's a good point, Dan.
So one of the things I did today, because there was a special, actually, now this was last week on Thursday, they had a sale on some screws. I bought 300 pounds of 1 5/8 screws because I know in 6 months that's going to be doubled.
Man, you're a monster with that.
right? And I know I'm going to go through that 300 pounds like this. I'm doing the
You're a
same thing
monster
with
with
2
that,
by
Dan.
4 10 footers. So, guys, lumber, sheetrock, screws, all that is going to go through the roof.
You're a monster with
If you
that, Dan.
plan to do any major construction, jump on this, save the money. If you have a place to store it at.
Caller, you're on the line with Chris and Dan. Please state your name and where you're calling from.
Hey, my name is Tiffany, and I am from Atlanta.
Hello, Tiffany.
I'm sorry, Tiffany. Was I too
Hello,
hard?
hello.
Were we too hard on Aya just now? I feel like sometimes I feel like we're a little hard.
No,
on
I don't
people,
think
man.
so. No,
You know we love
I
you,
raise
yo.
private money, and I get where she is. Like, you know,
Here?
it's a mental shift first.
It's here, right? It's not even. It's nothing out there, right?
Yeah, it's a mental shift first, but it's a lot of money out here. It is. It's really you get your plan together. It's the easiest part. So,
But Tiffany, here's the question. I know you got your question too, Darren. They are printing it every day. I just want to make sure I'm not. Is it that I mean, it is more money than deals, right?
it is. It's a lot more
Wow.
money. But if you've never raised private money, it could be very intimidating. And if you have operated like at a certain level financially, it is very shocking to step into the other side and see how much money is really available.
Tiffany, I gotta love on Aya a little bit because I'm so distanced from that. I'm happy that I am. You know, I'm like I can't even comprehend the fact. I mean,
Yeah, but she's in a different position than most people because she has a road behind her. She has a successful business.
no doubt,
She has a construction background. You
no
know,
doubt.
she's in a much better
She's in
position.
a good position.
Yeah.
In a good position. But Tiffany, I know you got. Damn, I'm asking you questions. Go ahead. I'm gonna be quiet. Go ahead, Tiffany.
I do. I have a question. So I have a deal under contract. And just a little backstory. I do. Thank you. I wholesale, I flip, but I have this property under contract. We were gonna wholesale it, but the particular subdivision that it's in, there are 29 properties on market. So the sellers, they live in a different state. They just want out. They're willing to do subject to. This property looks very familiar to that piece of trash that you showed, how people were just listed on Facebook. I could send you the listing right now that I have on Facebook. You know, it needs $40,000 to $50,000 worth of work, but we have a potential buyer.
You want to show it to the people?
So I'm not as tech savvy. So like when I called, it stopped my YouTube video on my phone, and I don't have my laptop in front of me, so I don't have the access to be able to do it.
If you is it you don't want to give the address out? I'll pull it up. Or is that too much?
No, don't worry about it. That's fine. So tell us what's the question.
Okay. So the question is, I have done subject to in the past, right? But this is a little bit tricky. So we have a seller. The seller just wants out. They owe a mortgage, and I can give you guys exact numbers, but I mean, I have them right in front of me.
Give me the numbers.
So you tell me what you need to help me. Okay,
Give
cool. All right, so ARB.
What do you say, Dan?
What's the mortgage amount?
The mortgage amount is 11. The mortgage amount is 1108.87. $1,108.87.
What's the principal amount?
The principal amount that's owed right now is $133,744.58.
We're talking about the whole price of the house, right? We're not talking about the down payment, right?
No. This is just that $133,000. That's what they owe. That's not ARB. That's just what they owe.
What's the interest rate?
The interest rate is 4.25%.
Excellent. And what is how many years do they have into the mortgage?
They just got this in 2019. So 25 years basically.
Okay.
So they have 25 years left?
Yes, 25 years left.
So they've already paid 5 years, the first 5 years. And I want the audience to understand the first 5 to 7 years on a 30-year mortgage, it's all interest. So now in the next 2 years is when more money starts going towards principal, which will increase your asset appreciation. And this mortgage is only at 4.25%. I know Chris got happy with that number. So Chris, I'm going to let you take it.
All right, keep going. Monthly
This
payment.
is all you now.
What's it worth?
Okay, so well, mind you, it needs $40,000 to $50,000 in rehab. ARV though is $265,000.
All right, what's the?
We have it under contract. You need to know what I have it under contract for.
You can't.
So I have it under contract for $155,000. They basically just want $20,000 out. They're tired. They've had it with two wholesalers who didn't ask them if they're willing to. They didn't ask the question, are you willing to sell or finance? So I was willing to ask the question. So we have it under contract for $155,000. We have it listed. We have a buyer who wants it at $169,900.
When you say, and he's willing to take it with a cash deal?
No. So they need finance. So that's the question I have for you guys.
Okay.
It's not streamlined, me just doing subject to on it. You basically have three parties involved. You have the seller, you have me, and then you have this end buyer who needs it on terms. They're not an investor. They have a property in this subdivision that they have bought on seller finance and paid it off in a year and a half. And now their parents are moving from New Jersey to Florida, and they want this other house in the same neighborhood. So they're willing to pay the $169,900. They're gonna put $50,000 down. But I'm trying to figure out, do I subject to and then do a lease option? Because my sellers, they're inexperienced. They're just over it. They have two mortgages right now. They're over it. So I'm just trying to figure out,
if you do the lease option, how much a month will you be collecting in rent?
Dang, you gotta get the numbers before we talk about. Yeah, I didn't know the numbers first. What's the rent?
What? So the rent is like $1,400 in that area. But I have to mention that this property does need $40,000 to $50,000 worth of rehab work. They're going to do the rehab work, the end buyers.
50,000.
They're going to put $50,000. They're going to pay $1,400 a month.
All right, cool. So what is our dilemma? Why are we selling this for so cheap? God,
to be honest with you, it's 29 properties on market. I just was like, this was a whim and a prayer. Like,
Tiffany, what area of Florida is this?
It's Atlanta.
This is Hastings, Florida.
Oh,
No,
Florida.
I'm in Atlanta. I do deals in 20 states. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So this property is in Hastings, Florida, near St. Augustine.
So it's North Florida. Okay. St. Augustine is a really nice area. Listen, the reality, I wouldn't do this deal. There's not enough meat on that bone.
Dan, she ain't selling it to you.
This is true.
She ain't selling it. You wouldn't buy nothing from you. So let's talk about the people that can't get financing. This is what I'm talking about here, Tiffany. I'm just like you, giving away a lot of value. You're selling your house with financing to somebody. Why are we only getting 170? How come you can't sell it for more? Here's the thing: we're not selling real estate. We're selling financing. We're not selling real estate. We're selling financing.
Well, look.
Okay.
Chris, you're missing something. She said that this person already owns property in the community, that they've already done a fix and flip in the community. Mm-hmm. And you got to look at it from the buyer's perspective. The buyer's perspective is, I got to put $50,000 into this. I'm going to be into this for $220 for a property that's only going to be worth $265 in a community that's
only $40,000 of equity.
Right. There's 29 listings, which could mean that this could go down further in equity.
I bet you none of them got financing.
I understand that. So my question is, Tiffany, are they willing to pay maybe $1,700 a month, or how much of a down payment are they willing to give you as well?
50 down. They're getting 50 down.
They're giving 50.
They're giving 50 down. So I'm gonna walk away with $14,900 off the top. That's before I'm getting anything per month.
I didn't realize that.
And more than anything, so
I didn't realize.
Yeah, I'm not going to increase the price because, you know, I already have this buyer. I'm not going to, we can add some interest on there. We can hit them with 8 to 10% interest, you know, but I'm not going to change it's going to be $169,900. They're bringing $50,000 down. The seller is going to get $20,000. I'm going to get, I'm sorry, they're actually bringing, no, I said 49. So, you know, I'm getting the difference. Right. And they're going to pay their own closing costs. My challenge here is I'm trying to figure out how to structure it. Like, you know, do I stay in the deal? Do I take it subject to and then do a lease option? So that's my question.
Okay. So you done with the numbers. We don't need to do the numbers then. So
well, let me ask you, Tiffany, so what your question is, do you give them the subject to and they continue to pay the mortgage, or do you stay in the deal and you make yourself the spread? Is that what you're asking?
Yes. Do I stay in the deal? Yes, that's what I'm asking. And then if I stay in the deal, how do I stay in the deal in the best situation? Because my sellers are inexperienced. Like my sellers literally told me, Tiffany, I don't care what you do with the property. We're just tired of paying this mortgage and we live in Pennsylvania. You know, they're just tired. So I'm trying to figure out the structure.
This is a Chris Haskins question. Total Chris Haskins question.
It sounds like you got some integrity going on here. So if your buyer stops paying, then you need to be willing and able to step in, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So if you do have these buyers on the hook, right, and they're $1,400 a month, which ain't nothing in the spread, you're almost doing this as a pro bono thing. You're making a little bit of dollars, but how long did you make an agreement on how long your buyer has before they own?
Well, nothing is finalized right now. So like everything is like up in the air. Everything is up in the air except they know that they're going to have to bring $50,000 down already. Yeah. They know that the purchase price is $169,900, but as far as like the going rental rate is $1,400 in the area, that is still up in the air. So I can that number I can change with them because I have not put it out there that it's $1,400 per month. That was a number that I was sharing with you guys.
Mm-hmm. So you already have agreed to these numbers. So basically, this is you getting down payment money is really the only thing that we getting out of this one, correct? Is that where your mind was at?
Correct.
All right.
Correct. As of right now. Yeah.
Since you're already there and there's not too much equity in it, I would probably I wouldn't want you to be in this situation, but since we are here, let's give you obviously give them like a 10-year option, or just ask them how many years they need before they can refinance you and just get out of it, because you don't want to stay in this one. I would ask them I would do a lease option and make sure, see if they can refinance you out as soon as possible. Just get out of it.
Okay.
I
want to get out of it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a lot of
So where would it need? Because we haven't closed this deal yet. So like where would we need to be to make it make sense to stay in it at $1,700 a month?
I don't think it's a monthly payment. I think it's more your purchase price on this one, because it's $1,700 a month. Can it even sustain itself? Don't they got to make some money on it too?
No, they don't. I'm like literally when I say, they were like, "Hey, we just want to get rid of this $1,100 per month."
Your buyer
bleeding.
I'm talking about your buyer.
My buyer. My buyer is just concerned about having a place for their parents to live. Their parents they live in the neighborhood. Their parents are coming from New Jersey to Florida to also. So they don't necessarily care about, they're not trying to flip it, Yeah, they're not concerned about that.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So Dan, I would just raise that payment then if you could. Yeah, that's right. Raise this payment up here.
Okay.
I would try to raise the payment and lower the 20,000 to 10,000 that you have to give.
You can get here
lower to 10,000.
I'd much rather have Dan. Okay. You rather have down payment or monthly payment?
I want both.
I'm talking if you had to choose.
There is so the numbers have got to make sense, right? So I'd rather have the higher rent with the lower down payment, with the lower money that I'm paying the seller. So if I could get the seller down another 5,000 to 10,000 and get the rent up another 200 to 300 a month. Now, the problem is going to be is that they're going to come to you and say the buyer is going to come and say, yeah, but the regular rent is $1,400 a month. Says, yeah, but that's not buying you a house, and that's not getting you financing, and that's not resolving your problem right now.
Yep.
So there's a cost for that comfort. I'm selling you comfort. I'm not only selling you the house. I'm selling you the comfort.
Financing.
That does that not have a value?
Okay. Bring the seller cash at closing. Bring it down from 20 to 10, and then try to get $1,700 per month. And I honestly think this family the buyers will be flexible because they've done seller financing on 4 properties.
Tiffany, I'm gonna ask you a favor. Did you get any value out of this conversation you just had?
I did. I greatly appreciate it. I got so much value.
I'm going to ask you next week. Can you please come back on and tell us what eventually happened with this deal?
I definitely can. I was just on YouTube and saw you guys live, and I just talked to the buyer before your live started, and I was like, I'm going to call because I need to get some help on this one. So I will come back next week and let you guys know what happened.
Thank you so much.
Good luck to you. Dan.
Thank you. Bye.
Dan, I think we all get in our own way. Because if I'm financing you, I don't give a hill of beans about any of the comps. You're talking about a comp. Okay. We are not even speaking the same language. I don't care about the comps. Go buy that one. If that's what you want, I'm waiting for somebody that want financing,
Go buy that one's already fixed at because there's 29 other properties, right?
It's 29 other properties. But
there's a value. There's a value.
This lady has so much value. And I think we as investors want to pass on that value. I'm like, I promise you, none of them being financed like she's doing it.
Yeah.
You think they finance it like her?
No.
No way.
I mean, she's got a good spread. She could, let's say, even if she does 8%, 8.5%, she's making 4% on the bank's money.
But still, Dan, if I were to do that deal, Dan, I would be at, you know what? We can only say I would raise this to 190, 50 down. Because when she collects this 50, she got to give most of it. I know most of it, some of it to the buyer.
Mm-hmm.
And she's only at 170.
Well, you know what's good about this mortgage is that it's only 4.25%.
That's
and
true.
5 years of it's already been paid. So
No
now
doubt.
you put money towards that mortgage, more of it's going towards principal instead of interest, because the first 5-7 years on the 30-year note is all going towards interest, right? So the major part of interest is already paid on the payments. So it's not a bad. It's
a good deal.
It's not a bad. It's not a great deal, but it's a doable deal.
Well, I just think, man, Dan, I have sold houses that were falling down for 4 times. I mean, it's like, because I'm not selling a house, I'm selling financing. And I have to remind myself too, Dan, I got to remind myself too, I'm not selling you a house. People say, well, you can't do that. This house ain't for you. It's no big, it's no big deal.
If we have anybody waiting on the call,
that's it. I've had a ton of calls with people. Y'all make sure you join our VIP wait list.
So I'll give you guys. When I was in college, my friend Carlos wanted to go buy this car. So all he had was $500. So we go to this car dealership, and man, every car, there was no car that wasn't a rust bucket, right? One was just one after the other, one was worse than the other. So Carlos sees this 1977. It was a 1972 Cutlass Supreme with the white Landau top, red car. He's in love with this rust bucket, right? So the back seat on the floor, the whole thing's rusted out. So you can't, like anybody sitting on the back seat, you got to keep your knees up by your chest, So
take your feet off.
So and Carlos is in love with this car. I'm like, bro, you can't buy this stuff. You crazy? So the guy's like, but the salesman senses like the buyer, the guy with the money, wants his car. So I said, like, he was a fat old guy. And he had a cigar in his mouth. He was upstate, it was all red like there, right? And he looking at me, he goes, kid, what's the problem? I said, there's no floor in the back seat. There's no floor. You ask me what the problem is. Shit, how do we know that the driver's seat ain't gonna fall to the ground, right? Who's gonna buy this? Who's gonna buy this? He tells me. I tell him. He says, you know what? He says, you young, but you're gonna eventually learn. There is an ass for every seat. And the ass for that seat was my friend Carlos because he bought the car today. So it's the same thing when it comes to houses. There is a person for every house. You just gotta find that person.
That is very true, man. There's a house for every person out here. L Light, how would you approach a subject to to get personal home versus an investment property? Same way. My last house I lived in, L, was as a subject to. You buy it for your house, move for your family, you move on in. Rafe, can you seller finance be done in any area? Dan, can you do seller financing in any area, or it won't work in some cities?
That I know of. I mean, it's just the thing is, like, I would never do a seller financing in New York City because it'd take me 8, 9 years to get rid of somebody I want to foreclose on, maybe 10. So yeah, that shit ain't happening. If you tell me I'm gonna go up to like northern Florida, yeah, I'll do it because it ain't gonna take me that long to get rid of somebody who's not paying me. It all depends.
You create your own notes. You can use ours or use Dan's or use whoever you want to.
Chris, how many people we have on here right now?
We got 70 people on YouTube, 10 on Instagram,
So
y'all.
let's go to that link because it's getting pretty late at night.
That's right there.
So let's bring it up. I want to. Can you bring it up?
You talking about the visual?
Yeah. Bring up the actual link.
Uh,
Do you guys see the link to sign up? Because I don't see it on my screen. Can you guys like say yes or no? So yeah, that's it. Scroll down, Chris. So Chris and I, Haskins and I, we are doing this. Slow down. You could sign up here to be put on the waiting list, right? And the reason we're doing the waiting list is twofold. One, it's going to be a first come, first serve. We're only going to take about 50 to 60 people. We're launching this in March of this year. And the reason is because we've realized, primarily because of the one-on-one consultations we're getting, most people are buying the property right. Most people are renovating it right, but they're going broke because their tenants are making them broke, right?
Yep.
So again, if you're interested in signing up for this mastermind class, it's going to be 5 weeks. And scroll down. I want to show them everything we're going to be covering on this. This is just some of the subject matters we're going to be covering on this, right? Tenant selection process, the interview process, balancing the interests of landlords and tenants, how to negotiate the dilemmas with tenants, how to manage problem tenants, how to resolve disputes between tenants, how to lessen your turnover rate, because the higher your turnover rate, the less your profit margin is going to be. Bookkeeping. We're going to be talking about overseeing how do you do your rent increases, preparing your leases, how to stay organized. We're going to be talking about who should be the team members. What do those team members look like, right? That's the real biggest thing, right? How do you find those team members? How do you determine whether those team members' personalities are going to fit that group, right? How do you change out those team members? That could be anywhere from your accountant to your attorney to your realtor to your carpenter, your electrician, your painter, your plumber, your expediters. We're gonna be, the photographer that's gonna be taking the photos of that property. These are all the things that you guys are gonna be learning in this class, right? There won't be a situation that occurs after you take this class with a tenant that you won't know how to handle. But most importantly, we're going to be giving you the tools to handle that situation, because not only are you going to have a copy of my lease and all the documents that I use in communicating with my tenants, whether that be my checklist, my lease, whether that be also, the letter that I use, the form letter I use to increase rents, or the form letter I use to notify tenants when they're in violation of the lease. Everything from soup to nuts, we're going to be covering. You'll have those tools, and you'll know how to use those cool tools when you're done, right? So if you want to be part of that mastermind class, go to the link, click on that link, sign up, get yourself on the waiting list, and we'll be notifying you within the next week or two exactly what the cost, when will it start, and how you can make payment.
We've been working on this. Well, Dan is doing way more than me, I will tell y'all, because his business is more intricate regarding dealing with tenants. I am a bank. So if you want to learn how to just collect money, I don't know. Is that okay? I mean, I don't even know if
Yeah,
that's.
go for it. So Chris is going to be tell Chris that I just said what everything I'm going to be dealing side I'm going to be teaching. Chris, tell him what side you'll be teaching.
I'm doing the creative selling side on lease options and sell land a contract for deeds. So that's more of turning yourself into a bank. And Dan is a master at tenant management, and I don't want to deal with tenants. So whenever I have a tenant problem, I talk to Dan. He helps me with that. So you're gonna get both sides of this business. I don't
Now
do.
Chris is going to be talking about lease options. He's going to be talking about his because when it comes to Section 8, selecting Section 8 tenants, Chris is a whole lot better at that, managing the Section 8 department than I am. So that's what Chris is going to be handling. So we've literally taken like whatever I'm weak in, Chris is extremely strong in. That's what he's going to be bringing to the table, and whatever Chris is weak in, that's what I'm going to be bringing to the table because I'm strong in that aspect. So you guys are going to get, it's such a well-rounded opportunity to learn how to do this business because if you don't manage your tenants, Chris, what'll happen?
They're definitely gonna manage you.
You're gonna manage you without
manage you. Yeah, manage them. They'll manage you. I learned that the hard way.
Yeah. So again, the link is there. Please,
links it below, y'all. All right, I don't see no other questions
on the waiting list, guys.
That's it then. No other call-ins. Deborah, I got some written questions here.
Yeah, let's take one more at least.
One more call. Anybody call? Going once. No other calls going once.
Questions that we didn't answer on written questions.
Let me see. Oh yeah, somebody did have a question. They put in a couple of times. Can you be Goodwin? Can you recommend a loan servicing company for seller financing or wrap deals?
Yeah, I don't like recommending mortgage brokers, guys. That's not what I do.
I don't have. We just collect. Would our tenants just mail it in, or I don't like it, but then we'll do cash out. They'll do that too.
All right, so we're good. I want to thank everybody again. Put yourself on that waiting list because I denounced it in my mentorship class on Wednesday, and we had over 50 people put themselves on the list already. So yeah, it was like that. So again, and we're gonna be capping these classes off because we want to make sure we give everybody the attention and time that they deserve to get their questions answered and making sure that they understand because it's a lot of information. We created a workbook that you'll be getting for this class as well. In addition to all of my documents, in addition to my rental, we're going to only be giving this to the first maybe 25, 50 people. But this is a list of all the material we use to renovate our apartments, guys. Paint, sheetrock, everything, the light fixtures, everything. So you guys will be getting that. So it's going to be an incredible amount of information that you guys are going to be learning.
Thanks, Dan. So what else? There's a link below. Join your wait list. Share this with other people that are trying to understand how real estate works. And, Dan, I think a lot of people, sometimes we think people have a grasp of what's going on out here. I think sometimes we need to kind of just slow it down and start with the basics. What do you think?
Oh, without doubt. And this is going to be from beginning to end. This is when we start with this class, you're going to be at Landlording 101. When you're done with this class, you're going to have you could go teach in the universities, with the knowledge you're going to have. Matt,
let me ask you, Dan. I want to ask you, do you ever feel guilty about being in a capitalist system where you get to collect rent?
Nope. There's a lot of people on social media that try to make you feel guilty for it.
I get so much hate.
Housing is a human right. Yeah, where does it say that in the Constitution? Where does it say that in the Bible?
I don't know.
What I think is a human right is that we should all have the same equal opportunities to get up in the morning, go to work, and make a living, and get rewarded for our hard work. That I think is a right that we have, right? So
it's a social media thing.
Yeah. The reality is, we should all have a human right to succeed and work as hard as we want to work. That you should be rewarded for.
I keep getting so many hate messages, Dan, and it's weighing on me, dog. Regarding, I have to do evictions and I cannot take care of grown people, and I just wanted to ask you, when I think about capitalism and I think about being on one side, I was on the rent.
The
I
way
was
I
on
look
the.
at it is this is where I look at it. Let's say New York City. Right now, it takes 29 months to get rid of a tenant in New York City, in Brooklyn, right? So if the marshal's knocking on your door and at the end of that 29 months kicking you out, shit, that ain't my fault. That's not the capitalism. You had 29 months to figure out how to pay your rent.
That's true.
Whose fault is that you? Whose fault is it that you chose to put your head in the sand or chose to live rent free for 29 months? It's not my fault. It's not the system's fault.
No doubt.
It's like, you know how
All
many
right.
opportunities you have in New York City to fix the problem? How many organizations out there who are willing to help you pay your rent and you still getting kicked out after 29 months? That's a you fault, not a nobody else fault. That has nothing to do with society. That has
I
everything
got
to do with you not doing what you're supposed to do.
you. All right. Round up. Much love to you. We'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.
All right, everyone.